Hey guys, welcome back to Cozy Woman Podcast. My name is Shan. I am the mama of the girls.
Hey, I'm kid number 1, Anya. Welcome back to season 17 of my mom's podcast.
Hey guys, it's Kid 2 Ari. Welcome to Cozy Podcast.
Yay! Hey guys, welcome back to Cozy Woman Podcast. My name is Shan. I am the mama of the girls, and it is Friday. This is episode 18, I believe. And I want to talk about building, boosting, and watching who your kids become, because it's super important. What we want as parents for our kids doesn't have to be who they become or who we had the expectation of them to be, right? What we should be pouring in is all the good characteristics and the good ways of treating other people and watching who they bloom to be, right? Our position is to build, boost them up, and help them become the best of who they will be. And that's what I want to talk about today. Welcome to Cozy Woman Podcast. In parenting news, unfortunately, I'm going to start with some bad news. So, I saw an article that said teachers of autistic boy who froze to death flooded CPS with calls. And it's so funny that that is the article I saw. And I was reading because Drake from Everything Culture, aka PodFam, he's doing a series on his podcast, Everything Culture, about CPS and, him working with children years ago and how that comes to be and what it looks like from his point of view and his experience. And we did a special episode. I want to say it came out earlier this week on Monday about CPS and 15 things to look for that tell you should call CPS. And it was just unfortunate that I saw that article yesterday. So I just wanted to bring it up. If you see something and something is very consistent, I think it takes a lot more than just teachers to keep calling for help for kids who cannot help themselves. So please don't feel defeated when you see articles like this. Still keep helping those children. Another unfortunate thing that's in the news this week is 50 Cent's oldest son still begging for his attention, still begging for his father's love and affection and want to be around him. And I think through the hate of his oldest son's mom and that pettiness that his child is suffering, and his child is always, making a mockery of him in the media and is always in somebody's live talking about how his dad don't this and his dad don't this. And it's just really sad. Like, all his son wants is his dad's acknowledgement, and it's not about money. It's not about, you're driving this car, so I think I should be able to drive. It's like, really, it's the basics. It's the fact that fathers should love their children through words, time, and action. And the way he treats his son is very like, throw this money over there so he can be quiet and stay out my life. And it's very...
When you visit Arizona, time is measured in moments, not minutes. Like the moment your work stress disappears as you kayak through the canyons. Or the moment you discover the life-changing effects of prickly pear chocolate. But nothing beats the moment you see the Grand Canyon for the very first time. Visit a new state of mind. Learn more at hereyouareaz.com.
It's sad to see, so that's unfortunate. I just would like to say now that we're getting into a season where you can hide your body and you can stay indoors more, and not a lot of people are going to be outside, and you might turn a blind eye to things. Just remember that life is too short to allow verbal, emotional, and physical abuse to continue just because you're staying for the kids. I've never believed that staying for the kids is a good enough reason for you to endure any type of abuse, because what you're doing is you're teaching your child that this is okay as long as you have a place to stay, as long as you get something to eat. You might get hit sometimes. You might be talked to in a way where you feel less than, but it's okay because this is our house. And, sometimes, this is normal and this is no. If you don't want that to be your child's norm, you don't put up with it, because in this episode, you will see that we are our children's first teachers. We are the people that they look up to by default. Okay? So please make a better decision on where you are, who you deal with, and who is showing your child an example of who to be and who not to be. Okay? Lastly, for this parenting news, more so like parenting tips today, I want you to always be improving and always be learning as a parent. Never get to a point where you feel like you know it all or your way is the only way. There's so many different ways to parent. And sometimes in life, there's no way to prepare to have an autistic child. There's nowhere to prepare to have a child with Down syndrome. There's nowhere to prepare to have a child that has to live their life in a wheelchair for the rest of their day. Like, some people think that they're having a normal pregnancy and they give birth to a child that needs more than the next, needs more attention than the next, needs more surgeries than the next, which requires you to have more money, requires you to have more time to dedicate to a child that you thought you would be able to just drop off at school, regular public school. But now you have to take your child to a particular school. Now you have to make sure every apartment you get is on the bottom floor and has a ramp. Now you got to make sure the house that you get has a ramp built in. Like, you just don't know, but you can always try to prepare. So just keep that in mind and have some compassion for parents who have to endure a higher level of attention to children that are just different. They're not wrong. There's nothing bad about them. They're just different. Okay? Let's get into the episode. Now it's time for parenting news, because there's always something going around about parenting and kids.
Here we go.
Back to the show.
Back to the show.
There are several ways that you can build your kids into being better people, boost their confidence, and have some just accountability in who they become as adults by what you do with them as children. And that's what I want to talk about today. So, when your kids are young, if you have the finances to go ahead and prepare for them when your kids are born, I think it's super important for you to put $1,000 into a brokerage account. Research good accounts that increase over a period of time, and focus your attention span on them and teach them how to budget, teach them about investing earlier, teach them about how money works, what it looks like to invest in yourself. Spend strategic time with each of your children if you have multiple children. Put down the phones. Don't allow it to be just TV. Don't allow it to be just a tablet. Don't allow it to be, I'm going to take my kid to the park and they're going to play with other kids and you're sitting down on the phone. Like, that's not engagement between you and your kid. That's you allowing your kid to engage with other kids. And who knows what they're discussing? Who knows what they're being told, And if you focus on your children and you try to build their attention span, try doing art projects together. Try playing games that involve numbers and counting. Try doing puzzles, because there's no real, incorrect way to think through a puzzle, but you can show them how to do it in an efficient way. So when I do puzzles with the girls, I tell them, get all the flat sides first. That's the corner of the puzzle, so we can get the frame of the puzzle together. And then we'll start separating the puzzle pieces by color to see what it matches with. And then we'll start putting it together by what it looks like on the picture. That's a plan. And They need to hear you talk through that plan, think through that plan, tell them why that plan is better than them just throwing puzzle pieces on the thing and looking for the one match to one piece. There's a process for everything. Just like there's a process for before you go to the grocery store to make sure you have what you need in the fridge. Maybe you want to make a list first. Like, I think teaching your child how to think through their answer is way more important than the answer. Because if you just throw answers to your child all the time, or they just focus on give me the calculator so I can get the right answer, they don't know why that answer is the answer. All they know is it's right. Let me move on to the next thing. But they're not learning how to think for themselves. They're not learning how to critically think. In life, to protect yourself, to protect your lifestyle, to make sure you can provide for yourself, you have to understand how to critically think. You have to build up certain ways of thinking to have common sense, okay? Building your child's confidence, just be honest with them, okay? Ask them, how can you help when they feel frustrated? Let's check this. Let's keep trying. Like, don't let their defeat make them feel like it's done for. I can't fix it. It's over. The day's ruined just because I can't figure it out this one way. Sometimes, depending on what it is, there are multiple ways to figure out something. It took me to be in my 30s to see mathematicians on YouTube and TikTok showing multiple ways of how to get the same answer. And the whole time I'm just like, why wasn't this taught to me in school? Because the way that a lot of my math teachers would try to teach me math, I didn't understand. But the way that they taught it in the 15 seconds on a clip, I got it. And that's why it's so important to explore another way to find an answer, okay? Teach your children to keep trying. That will build their confidence. When it comes to emotional resilience, you have to spend time with them. You have to talk to them about their feelings. You have to teach them about your mistakes. I love telling my kids about my mistakes. And when they're opening up to you, don't make them feel not wanted or crazy, or don't make fun of them when they're opening up, because there's a lot of adults that don't open up because of how someone made them feel as a kid. Be okay with your kid making mistakes when they're showing true effort. Back them up when they're struggling. Validate their feelings when they feel like, they can't do something, or their day is ruined, or, they're less than. And really teach your kids that not everybody has to care. Not everybody wants to see you be great. Not everyone is going to be your friend forever. You're going to lose some people that you thought were great, and you're going to gain some new people. Always be open to learning something new. You do not have to be the one with the answers all the time. You do not have to be the one that's first all the time. You do not have to be the one that wins all the time. Okay? But you do need to honestly try when you say, yes, I want to do this, or yes, I want to be on this team, or yes, I can do it, or yes, I did it already. If you did it already, follow through. Show the proof. If you didn't do it and you're claiming you did it, or you have something that you do not have, that you're not sure that you're going to have, do not say that. Because once your words don't match your actions, and someone thinks that, oh, you lied about this, so you're going to lie about that, it's hard for people to believe you. It's hard for people to trust you. So talk to your kids about I hope that you guys are enjoying the show. I'm going to take a quick break to give you some details on some podcasts to check out and where else you can find me. If you are looking for your fall sweaters and hoodies, and you trying to prep that closet, or you're looking for long sleeve shirts, or your new bus stop coffee mug, check out the Cozy Womb shop for the podcast, because I updated. You're welcome. Peace. Hey guys, if you're interested on starting your own podcast, I think that's cool and we need to know what you're about to say. But if you need help in processing where to start, what you need to do, and you need your own checklist for marketing or where to put your questions for your guests, please check out all of my books on lulu.com. You have The Podcast Journal, Marketing the Podcast 101, and The Podcast Questions on lulu.com. Now back to the show. About lying, why they shouldn't lie. Talk to them about polite ways to say no thank you, or polite ways to disagree. And if disagreeing with other kids at school or your friends in middle school, your friends in high school makes y'all not friends, then that wasn't your friend in the first place, because you're all not supposed to be the same. Making children feel comfortable with themselves by complimenting their differences. Like, for me, I have girls. I'm always complimenting them on their hair being different, on their skin being different, the way that they think through things being different. Because if you focus on just something being great and it's only being one way, they'll never be comfortable in the fact that they're not like that. Teach your kids how to have compassion by you having compassion. Ask your kids, how do you know that I love you? And then if you ask them that, you're going to figure out what their love language is, how they connect with love. Some kids might say, I know you love me because you give me toys, because, you buy me cute stuff. Maybe their love language is gifts and things. Another kid might say, I know you love me because you hug me, or we cuddle on the couch, or sometimes you let me sleep in your bed. I know you love me because, you feed me and you give me a home and you help me with my homework. So that's a very interesting thing to ask your kid, and you should ask your kid that every once and again, because it possibly will change as they get older, and that'll tell you how else you should show up, and not just with gifts, and not just by, hugging on them sometimes, and not just through words, right? So we all need to work on things. So never get to a point where you feel like, oh, I did everything. They should be happy or they should be satisfied, because they're little individual people with different personalities. What you do for one may not show up the same way for the other, okay? Instead of your child embracing, I can't, help them with yet, okay? I can't do this yet, but I'm learning. I can't fix this yet, but I'm going to ask somebody to show me how. Or I don't know how to do this problem. I'm going to go on YouTube and look up how to do this problem. Give a window of hope in different situations. Help your kids learn about who you are. Help your kids learn about how y'all are similar and how y'all are different and how it is okay. And if you see some similarities with your kid that have held you back as a student or as a friend with people, point it out and address it. Don't just see your child being selfish. Don't just see your child bullying their other sibling or bullying kids on the playground and not say anything. Don't just see your child really a stickler about keeping their clothes clean and allowing them to snap out on other people because they got dirt on their shoes. If you know that my child, just like me, I hated when people stepped on my shoes, let them know that it's okay. It's okay. Let's wear some shoes that we don't care about to the park. Let's, not wear a white shirt when we eat popsicles since you care about your clothes so much. I noticed that when my nephews were young, who was really concerned about how they look and if something was done a certain way. You have to get to know the personalities of your child to make sure you're raising them right. Okay? It's the kid basics. Is parenting done right? Is knowing your child, because all of our children are different. Okay? So Allow space for your children to be who they are, but guide them to be better people within who they are. Okay? Be a good adult that your kids can see. Be a good adult that your kids can hear, because kids be listening to your phone calls. Kids be reading your text messages. Kids see how you present yourself online. Videos on the internet are forever, so just beware. Kids see how you treat complete strangers. Kids see how you treat the homeless. Kids see how you act when you're angry. Kids hear how you talk to people on the phone. So just be mindful of that, and you're going to do great, and you're going to build your kids up to be maybe someone just like you, maybe someone the opposite of you, maybe someone you don't know nothing about and just like, oh my God, I didn't raise you to be like that. But maybe you did by not doing what was needed. Maybe you did raise your child to be who they became as an adult by not addressing what needed to be addressed. Let me tell you, problems don't fix themselves by doing the same thing that created the problems. Okay? So don't forget to validate your child's feelings. Be okay with them struggling because they're trying, but help them, give them different ways of, getting to a solution. Don't forget to check out the podcast Spotlight, and remember to build, boost, and be aware of who your child is becoming so we can be better parents, because I need to be able to stand by my children as adults, not be ashamed of who they become to be. My name is Shan. I am the mama of the girls. You can check me out at shanbypodden.com. You can check me out at Cozy Womb Shop and Mama's Cozy Closet to get all of your merch. If you would like to donate to the show, the podcast platform that hosts my show is Red Circle. Don't forget to check out my YouTube, Shannon Pods. And I hope you have a great weekend. And it's a great time to get your costumes if you're trying to go trick-or-treating. They are going fast, and you don't want to be left with costume pieces that don't match. If you don't celebrate Halloween, that's cool too. All right? I will catch you guys next week. Peace. Today's podcast Spotlight is a podcast called The Couch Sessions with Larry Hilton. So I found out about this man's podcast through Toroy from the Average Joe podcast and Baby Daddy Chronicles. 2 podcasts y'all should go check out. But Larry is basically on this podcast having a very in-depth, deep dive into what he's thinking about, what he's dealing with, his mental health, and what it's like to deal with life from a single man's point of view, a man who, has lost a parent and is helping, to take care of one parent that's, sick, and just watching how family is not being very family-like, just watching how people are having kids and, he's not quite there. And it really makes you think about, okay, as a parent, how can I help to make sure there's no doubt when my child becomes a young man or a young woman? How can I help to fill in the gaps that were really important now while my kids are little? So when they're older or around his age, they feel more fulfilled with the time spent. So it's a real good podcast to listen to. It is not a parenting podcast. It's a very grown-up approach to life and being very real and transparent. So it's a great podcast. You should check it out. It's called The Couch Sessions. When you see it pull up, it's going to be like a red couch with a white background. Real great podcast. Sounds amazing. Now, let's get into the show.